नमस्कार कार्यक्रम इश्यू अफ द डे मा यहाँहरुलाई स्वागत छ म रस्ना पौडेल दर्शकवृन्द युथ पार्लियामेन्टद्वारा आयोजित ग्लोबल युथ पीस कन्फरेन्स 2018 काठमाडौँमा सम्पन्न भएको छ सम्मेलनमा 42 देशहरूका युवा निर्माता प्रतिनिधि मण्डल लगायतका धेरै युवाहरूको सहभागिता रहेको थियो र 2 दिनसम्म चलेको यो सम्मेलनको मुख्य एजेन्डा दिगो विकासमा युवाहरूको सहभागितामा केन्द्रित रहेको थियो र आज हामी यो सम्मेलनको उपलब्धि र महत्त्वका विषयमा कुराकानी गर्दैछौं यसै विषयमा कुराकानी गर्न हामीसँग स्टुडियोमा हुनुहुन्छ ग्लोबल नेटवर्क फर सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्टका प्रेसिडेन्ट डाक्टर मरेक वसन्स्की वहाँ अमेरिका तथा पोल्यान्डबाट हुनुहुन्छ त्यस्तै मास्टर एकाडेमी अफ लभका संस्थापक मीरा आन्वस्ख्वा वहाँ पोल्यान्डबाट हुनुहुन्छ वेलकम टु द शो
हेलो So nice to be here.
Thank you. Is it your first visit to Nepal or you have been here before?
This is my first time being here and I am very...
So did you had any basic understanding before you were here in Nepal?
Yeah, your country is famous, yes.
Yes.
You have long tradition, you have mountains, the biggest in the world, and your people are very nice. So this aspects of Nepal people of your country is famous. But now I can test you and your country. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, how about you?
Well, I came to Nepal for the first time 6 years ago. My university, Arizona State University, signed partnership agreement with Pokhara University.
Okay.
And I fell in love with Nepal. I am here at least 5 times a year and we have a couple of projects and now we signed partnership agreement with Youth Parliament of Nepal and I am planning to be here almost every month starting from now.
Okay, so you are an organizer, a partner organizer of Global Conference 2018, Global Peace Conference for Youth. So how was it? How was the experience working with the youth of Nepal, with their hospitality, sharing their hospitality? How was it? How was the experience?
Oh, that was fantastic. I would say that this was the best part of the conference. Presentations as presentations. You know, these are like at each conference there are good presentations and less good presentations, but the spirit of the young people was amazing, wasn't it? They were just laughing and singing and dancing together and joking and they making contacts. I had the feeling that during these 2 days they really, the Nepali young people made connections with all the foreign visitors and it was great.
So what were the most agendas of this conference? Can you briefly explain us about this conference that held 2 days in Kathmandu?
Well, the whole idea was to promote peace and also to promote global partnership of people who are interested in peace education. So we got some people from different Asian countries, we had some people from United States, we had people from someone from Finland and so it was like interesting international group. And what we did, we just discussed this different aspects. What do we need to invest in youth to promote peace and especially in countries with emerging economies like Nepal?
So youth in sustainable development, what do you have to say about the youth of Nepal who can contribute in sustainable development goals? What do you see the status of youth in Nepal?
Well, you know, my concern was always that if you go to the airport in Kathmandu, 75% of passengers are young people between 18 and 22, going to Qatar or other, you know, countries to work there, and hoping that going there they will earn money and they will get qualifications and so on. So it seems that a lot of young people here in Nepal, they don't have really professional qualifications and they have hard time to find a good job. They run away. So I think that this is one of the biggest problems here. We need to prevent this. You need to keep young people here in the country and make them to invest in development of the country.
So youth investment is the main agenda and a motive, or let's say a goal of this conference.
Exactly. You know, we had a lot of discussions, not only in Nepal but also in other countries. How can we resolve all these big issues which are faced by the world now? And everybody agrees we need to invest in youth. We need to go to schools. We need to talk to young people. We need to teach them about all sorts of things. And probably we'll talk a little bit later about what do we need to teach them.
Okay, Master Academy of Love. So you're a founder of Master Academy of Love.
Yes.
What exactly is Master Academy of Love?
The mission of Master Academy of Love is we teach people how to love themselves and how to love others. This is our mission, our motto. And we organize different activities because it's not a school, it's not a university with building. Okay. It's rather a project which have different activities. The main activity which I invent is a huge meeting on the stage with audience, about 300 to 500 people every month. And on the stage, in light, it's multimedial. It's a mix of film, theater, because at the beginning it's a small drama with participation of professional actors, and with short interviews and short presentations. And first, I invite on the stage. Invite on the stage. Sorry. So-called ordinary people like us, but nobody is ordinary. Okay. Each of us is extraordinary. Exactly. And then people in these short interviews describe some episodes of their life connected with conflict, with problems with health, with communication, and so on. And in the second part, after the break, because it lasts about 3 hours, I invite specialists, experts, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, but also economists, sociologists, and others. For what? To help us, audience, understand the rule of life. Okay. For example, I would, with pleasure, invite Mr. Marek Wosiński, who is, for me, he's a guru, and he's a really very wise person. And I do it with my team, for what? To understand, because it's very important to understand what is the sense of life, what is important, what is not important, how we can create our life to be happy people, to be people with serenity, yes? And how we move, how we can resolve our conflicts, our problems, and so on.
So this academy is mostly centered on educating people about how to love yourself first and then love the others.
Yes, because this is a beginning.
So what do you think? What is your definition of love?
It's a good question. Yeah, thank you. My definition of love, I try to explain it not in my language, is to possess, in good meaning, ourselves, to know myself, my talents, my failures, my success, my experiences, to understand them, to integrate them, and to be a good person, and then I can integrated person, yes. And then I can help others, giving myself to resolve their problems. This is my definition of life. I don't know if of love. Yes, of love. Yes.
So where there is love, I think youth comes along hand in hand. So what do you think? Love and youth, how they are relatable, and do you think that love is really important for youths today?
For everybody, for you, for me, for Dr. Marek, for
And how about in the development process?
Each of us needs to be loved, and each of us would like to love somebody. Unfortunately, we understand love in different ways. Sometimes it's we say produkt miłościopodobny. Please help me understand, translate this. Quasi love. It's not love. For example, when I would like to possess somebody, it's not a love. It's rather violence, some kind of violence.
But generally overview, then I think for the youth, love is all about only intimacy, whether it's emotional or physical. So love is all about intimacy for youth. What do you have to say about this?
This is I would say a sign of our time, yes, because you live here in Nepal, Dr. Marek Wosiński lives in the United States, I live in Poland, in Europe, Central Europe, and we participate the same culture, even if each of us has its own our own roots, yes, national roots, national tradition. And I think that, for example, sexuality, and it's big pressure for us, especially for young people. And I, with this program, with this idea, would like to help everybody who is ready to understand that of course, our sexuality is very important, but first I have to understand for what I would like to be with somebody and make love, yes?
Can I share something here?
Yes, please.
Sure.
You know, I am a psychologist, and I used to work in a counseling center, and we organized weekend retreats for teenagers, taking like 200 girls and boys, you know, for a retreat. And as a counselor, I was sitting at the boys session and the girls sessions. And I was at the girls session, and they said, Dr. Marek, you know, you have to tell these boys that they are really wrong, that they are so superficial. They only see our physical appearance, they only see our sexuality, but they don't see our heart, they don't see our inner self, and so on. Tell them that they have to change. I went to the boys session, and I'm telling you know, girls are complaining that you are so superficial, and you have to change. And then one 16-year-old says, Dr. Marek, you know, I think there is a problem with me. I say, what kind of problem? Doesn't matter how hard I try to see her inner self. Doesn't matter how hard I try to see her heart. The only thing I see, these are big boobs. And then everybody started laughing and say, well, that's the problem with young people, you know, that they some kind of have this infatuation, and they believe that this is love, and this is not.
Physical intimacy is more important.
Yes, at this moment. But marriage counselors will tell you always that the best relationships are start with friendship and understanding and intimacy, and then infatuation comes along the way, and attraction and so on. So that's basically it.
Well, let's come to a conference. Like this academy, you are contributing in this Global Peace conference. So,
yes.
So what is the basic role of Master Academy of Love in this conference?
I was invited by Dr. Marek. It was a great privilege to present my work of 11 years during this conference. And unfortunately, it was a very short time, but when I was talking about this issue later, during the break, a lot of people came to me, and we were talking about their problems. They told me their shortly history of life, of love also, and of changing and of problems. And I realized that everywhere this project could be useful. Of course, some parts of them, because I start with this big show, talk show on the stage, but next part is, for example, workshops, coaching, some programs of mentoring, yes, mentoring in English also, and other forms which help people to do it practically. It's very important to do it practically. And I see that young people are ready, in Nepal also, are ready to absorb this knowledge, this form of how to say it, this form of this instrument, yes, instrument of how improve our own life, yes. So I hope that in the future we will collaborate in some way with these young people, because they are interested in this project. They invite me to be in contact, to do something more. We will see.
Love and peace is an important aspect to sustain youths or overall all the people. This is the main motive of Academy of Love in this conference, I guess. Yes. Building a peace through love and prosperity.
Exactly. When I mean everybody, yes. When some person is not doesn't live in harmony with peace inside, creates disaster. So first, in my view, in my opinion, it's important to understand ourselves, our talents, our opportunities, our roots of from what family I come from. What can I do? What I don't want for me, and what I would have for me. Yes, for in the future. And with this conference, I see that people receive more opportunities to do this.
Okay, so Nepal is a least developed country, as we know, comparative to that of the other Western and European countries. So what do you think youth's participation is lacking in the sector like government sector, social, economical sector? What do you see the status of youth in this sector? How do you analyze it?
Well, you know...
And how important is the youth participations and innovations in this sector?
I'm not sure whether it's politically correct to say something like this during the news interview, but you know, I've been talking with a lot of people here. I have a lot of friends. I consider Nepal as my other country. I have a lot of friends whom I call my Nepali family. I've never ever heard anyone talking in a positive way about the government. People only complain about this, about that, about that. And
there's a political disparity and instability lately we're facing. So how important is youth participation in this situation?
And that's basically on the first question, if as a foreigner you're asking, so why are you selecting people whom you don't like later as they work? And also, why you yourself will not get involved and start to make a difference? Why don't you voice your opinion? And you know, like during this, we created Peace Club in one of the schools in Hetoida. And one of the teachers from the school came together one of the students to the conference. This boy, like of this size, you know, 14 years old, and we asked him, why are you here? He could be a president, you know, at this moment. You know, he had the vision for Nepal. He was talking about transparent governance. He was talking about importance of economic development. He was talking about importance of education. You have extremely big potential here, but somehow we need to motivate these young people to get involved and to imagine themselves as future leaders. So that's why conferences like this. That's why the Youth Parliament of Nepal are so important organizations.
So Nepal is also facing this like employment crisis, and youth are seeking on foreign employment. Lately we can see those kind of disputes in our country. So what do you have to say about this? So how do you see the employment strategy and the government policies on employment for the youths? How do you see that?
Well, as I mentioned before, I am terrified by the amount of young people who are running away from Nepal to seek, you know, career outside of the country. I was in many Middle East countries, and I met some Nepali people working there. They just work like slaves, you know. There's nobody there. They have no option to learn anything. They come back with TV and maybe refrigerator and a couple of dollars, you know, in their pocket, but there's no future before them. So I think that for the government here, the priority will be to create professional education for young people, and also create opportunities for them to find a job where they can utilize all what they have learned. And this is the way to change the economy of the country. I came here from Singapore, you know, and I don't need to tell you there is a contrast, yes? And when you go to Singapore and you hear that 50 years ago there was a jungle there, you ask yourself, why was it possible there and it's not possible in Nepal? Okay. But I deeply believe that it is possible if we really get involved, youth.
So you and your academy is working with youth, and there's a love and peace you've been working on. So how important is peace for youth? Because as we know, as we have a general understanding about the youth is violent, they are more active, and they seek for fast outcomes, fast responses. So peace, I think there's a lacking of peace in youth understanding, youth qualities, abilities, capabilities. So how important is peace and love for youth?
During our conference, I noticed that a lot of girls and boys with smile, very well educated. They were very attentive on our sign that, for example, I need water, yes. They were immediately with a bottle of water close to me. And I see that they understand that we and also people older people from your country who are wise, we can be useful for them, and we can pass them, give them this our experiences that they need. And they receive through this contact, our discussion and conversation, a sense of how to say, their identity, yes, because and they are more I don't know, full of themselves, yes? Is it good?
Well, may I interrupt you, because
yes, please.
I see a big problem here, you know, that we are preaching to preachers. All these young people who are participating in the conference, they were either social workers, they're community activists, someone with big experiences and so on. So they are open-minded, they are just absorbing this knowledge and so on. Yeah. But there is a huge amount of young people who know nothing about sustainable development. They know nothing about non-violence, and they will be later in the government. They will decide about the policies. They will decide about how funding should be allocated. So we need to reach out. So that's why, you know, we bring these people here to create clubs in schools and hopefully all around the country to teach young people all those things they already know. So that's the mission of the conference.
Because this Academy of Love, Master Academy of Love, they teaches us how do we talk. So is there any procedures that we have to talk in a way that people love?
You know, when our communication is wrong, we can find the same ideas. For example, we talk about love, and somebody thinks about sexual involvement, and I think about intimacy. So it's a process to understand that it goes step by step to understand ourselves and others, to love ourselves and others. Yeah.
How was this, you know, Academy of Love talks about love and peace. So how this love, or let's say the procedures of how we love ourselves, has contributed or functions in this conference for youths?
Well, I know it's kind of a difficult question for me because, you know, I've been doing marriage counseling for many years, and so I listen to the topic of love and definition of love with a little bit different.
But you also work on the psychology sector, so
yes,
maybe
yes. Well, I think that there was not enough time during the conference to really elaborate this more in details. We just simply sent the message, and that was the purpose of it, and quite a lot of young people just came with some questions. They said, well, we would like to do more about this, but there was also a suggestion that we should kind of include knowledge about role of love in relationship between people in our curriculum of our clubs, which we are creating in schools. That this is something what should be there. I don't know whether educational system in Nepal incorporates this knowledge at all or not, but it should be somehow there in school.
So there were 42 countries and there were lots of youths participation in the conference.
Yes.
So how did you find the similarities and the differentiation between the views and opinions, perspectives of the youths from different countries to that of Nepal?
What would you say?
I compare, for example, people from Europe, young people from Europe, and people from here. And I see, you know, that in our countries in Europe, people lose sometimes a sense of life, and we are concentrated on technical gadgets or on making money or something like this, or how to be pretty, beauty, and so on, and not on the important things. Yes, and I see that here people. These young people, which I have privilege to know, they are also use this gadgets, but they are interested in these questions, yes, these issues. So I see that this is our chance to promote a good values. Yes.
But do you think really that we have something to promote? I'm not quite sure, because you know, like in the United States, 60% of marriages end with divorce, and the percentage of divorces is increasing and increasing. We in the United States, we just have this individualistic culture. You know, everybody is talking about himself or herself. Here in Nepal, what is fascinating for me, this is this collectivism. You know, the family support. You don't need psychologists here. If you have a problem, your cousin will tell you tomorrow, and your grandma will preach to you, you know, after 2 days.
But despite of all these, there are conflicts. There are social issues. There are family issues.
Yes, of course.
How do we overcome with this kind of issues psychologically? If you have to suggest for anything.
Before even I try to answer your question, you have this institution of arranged marriages still. Yes, so it's a totally different concept for us from United States. When you just enter the marriage relationship without any kind of, you know, experience of love or whatever. So, but this example shows that you can learn how to love, and you can learn how to have the relationship, and to learn that relationship and family is an institution. It's just not only.
But is it guaranteed? Loving yourself can, you know, really.
No, it's not guaranteed. I see also in our country of West Europe or in America that sometimes people participate a lot of workshops about how to love themselves, and they are not better people. Yes, so it's not the same. In my opinion, it is a question of value. A question of value.
But there are people who disvalues themselves, who have a low self-esteem. How love will help or support those kind of person? Loving yourself, how loving yourself can help that kind of person?
It's a process, yeah. And I think Dr. Marek could answer on your question from psychological perspective. I can tell you that in my through my project, I noticed that a lot of people pass step by step. I'm using Italian words, I'm so sorry. Step by step, change their life. Yes. So, for example, they change their work. Yes. They start to own business. They say no, it's not time to do it. I have to change my interest, professional interest. Yes. And the same in familiar life and between men and women. And I see that it works, really. I see it also on myself, yes. But it depends always on precyzyjny przypadek. Zawsze to jest kwestia.
Okay, maybe if I could kind of insert something here. Well, you know, if someone has low self-esteem and lack of confidence, these people seek somehow from external, from other people, to fulfill this vacuum, and then relationships are usually unhealthy because you just grab on anybody who is there to love you, and you find self-confidence in being loved by someone. Like people are on Facebook, you know, and they just estimate how good they are depending on the amount of likes they get there, you know. But if someone has really self-confidence and self-love and accepts himself or herself, they can offer themselves to other people, and they can get the positive feedback from other people. We don't like depressed people. We don't like people who feel lonely. We don't like people who are just kind of, you know, shy and so on. We like people who are smiling, positive, energetic, and so on. So, but you have to start working with yourself first.
Yeah, I would like to add something. When I observe, I'm so sorry, Dr. Marek, because we see each other rarely. Yes, we hear sometimes via Facebook or Skype. But for me, for me and for young people, guru, a kind of teacher, yes, a kind of guru, of course. And it's serious, yes. Why? Because when some person is integrated like he accepts everybody, and even if it's difficult, he can find in difficult person beauty. It's beauty. And then he or she but in this case he, open in front of this person
perspectives,
opportunities, yes? And this is the first step to start love ourselves, yes? For this, for others, yes? For these people who have this privilege to stay close to him. Yeah.
So let's get back to conference again.
Okay.
So the major agenda were the good governance and youth service participation. So youth participation, what do you suggest for the good governance? Youth participation, how should be youth mobilized? There is a differences between how you mobilize your youths in your country. A country like America, Poland, European countries are very well-developed countries, and there is a lacking of how we mobilized our youths in these kind of sectors. So what do you suggest? What can be a fine suggestion for youth participation in these kind of sectors?
Well, you know, if you look around, you will see there's a lot of needs in Nepal. There is a lot of problems which need to be addressed. There are a lot of things which should be done. And somehow the first step will be to, first of all, to motivate people to do something, and then to help them to learn how to do it. We organize in one of the schools in Hetoida this cleaning campaign. So these young people took, you know, whatever and started to clean the route to the temple. And what we observed, people from the neighborhood were just watching, you know, what's going on. And then suddenly some of them started to follow. And also they joined the group and started to clean. And then next day we saw some other people who were just doing the same. So we need to show this is the need. We need to say, okay, you can do something, and if you see that you are effective, others will follow, and step by step. So what we are planning to do during the next few years is to connect students with community organizations, to help them to see what are the needs in this particular community, and then get them involved. Learning by doing, learning by doing. Because if you do something, if you are effective, then you are motivated to do something else. And when other people see that you do something effectively, they will do also. My feeling is that here in Nepal, like in India, a lot of people are waiting that someone will do it. You know, there's a lot of garbage here. Someone will come, government will come, or whoever. You know, but just
do it.
Get up and do it. You know, it will take you half an hour to clean, you know, your streets, and it will look different. So that's the way to do it.
So this conference also launched a manifesto. What were the issues addressed? What were the basic conclusive conclusions or conclusive issues were addressed?
Well, saying the truth, I was really tired at the end of the conference, and I don't remember all the elements. But there were like two parts of it.
Basic and general, or important elements?
First, there were kind of suggestions for the government, that the government should put more attention into the professional education, that the government should put more attention to support community organizations, that the government should create some sort of opportunities for young people to get involved. And the other were suggestions for young people. So you have to start to change from yourself. And like one of the conclusions was something what Nelson Mandela said sometimes years ago, that it seems impossible until it's done. It seems impossible. And here I think that a lot of people have this feeling of helplessness, that the problems are so huge. But when you start doing it and you do it, it's done. And that's basically the main point of this manifesto. I think it will be published in the newspapers probably in a couple of days.
So you see the youth, the status of youth in Nepal, and you also worked with them throughout the conference. So where do you see the lackings of youth participation in the government sector? If you have to analyze, if you have to, you know, give your opinions or perspective about it, what do you see the status of youth participation in this kind of sector? And how do you relate your project, Master Academy of Love, to this conference?
I think that it should be more, we should be more attentive to their problems, because these problems are changed also, because our civilization goes very fast. And we see that, for example, a lot of young people in Europe or in United States suicides, yeah?
Commit suicide.
Yeah, and the first step, is to be być uważnym.
Pay attention.
Pay attention to them, to young people, yes. And then, in my opinion, I would, if I would, for example, a Ministry of Education of this part of activity, I would create some program. I would say program of mentoring for youth. We discussed this project several days ago, and it would help young people understand more when they have wise adult people close to them. Yes, of course it's also dangerous because they, as Dr. Marek said, young people can be attached to this group of or this guru, I would say, and we can find another solutions to stay with them. Yeah, but the most important thing is to be attentive. Yeah.
Okay. Well, can I say something?
Okay.
I regret that we didn't bring here one of the young people, our regional coordinator for Nepal. His story is a good example of what could be done. He is a musician. He moved here to Kathmandu from a small city somewhere in Nepal, and he got lost. You know, just with doing nothing, drinking, and he was utterly lost with the direction of his life. And someone told him about our network. And so he read it and said, "Oh, how can I get involved?" And so they asked him to talk to me, and we talked a little bit. And I said, "Well, you don't have any qualifications to do it, but if you want to try to learn by doing, why not to try?" Now he's just a model. He created clubs in the other schools. He was like almost like the leader of at the conference, you know, talking to everybody, and he can see it himself, you know, that when he got involved in something, it just changes his life. And that's what we need to do. We need to offer young people opportunity to do something, and to do something with other people, because when they do it with other people, they learn how to work in a team, they create bond, and they create friendships, they don't feel lonely anymore, and they grow.
Yeah. And our presence close to them is very, very important. Wise older people, yes? Wise.
Okay.
What does it mean, wise? Well,
wise? That you are wise for me. This boy, which from your example, told me, when I met Dr. Marek, I started another life. So it is important who is close to these young people, yes? Who is present in their life. Wise means a person who is integrated, harmonized, with love to others, love which goes from their peace. Yeah.
Do you have time to say something else?
Lastly, I shortly.
Well, I think teachers. There are a lot of great people among teachers. We just need to start the whole process from teachers and motivate them to do something, because they could be models. I just saw at this conference 2 teachers who are perfect model, and the students who came with them, they were just looking like this. So working with teachers.
Yeah. Okay, finally, lastly, we have a very short time left.
Sure.
What were your achievements and outcomes of this conference?
Well, first we made a lot of contacts with people from other countries who said, we would like to work with you. Then quite a lot of young people who came to the conference, they said, we want to be involved, we want to do, just let us know what to do. And finally, the biggest outcome is just this bond which was created among participants. You know, it was absolutely amazing to see people dancing, singing, doing things together, and they will remember this for a long time.
Thank you for your time. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
उहाँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो ग्लोबल नेटवर्क फर सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्टका प्रेसिडेन्ट डाक्टर मरेक वोसन्स्की, त्यस्तै मास्टर एकाडेमी अफ लभका संस्थापक मीरा आन्क्वासका। हवस् त कार्यक्रम इस्यु अफ द डे यति नै। न्युज 24 टेलिभिजन हेर्दै रहनुहोला। नमस्ते।